Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Chapter 6. By destroying 2 kingdoms, my country will have enough territory and population. But it requires strong force and army. Davy sitting on the throne fell into thought, and after a while, Davy came back to his senses. Take out the last item of silver 10 consecutive summons. It was made of silver, with a silver shield inlaid with a gold edge, with a sword standing in the middle. Open black lens bracket Legion enhancement metal close black lens bracket. Tier, silver. Effect. After selecting the target and using it, the Legion will be strengthened once, and the rank will be improved. Note: only valid for legions below Tier 3. Powerful metal ability. Davy has not seen the combat effectiveness of his own country's military. But he replaced the original, Davy, who died in the assassination, and inexplicably possessed the memory of the other party. Also know the combat strength of their own country's army. How to say? Under the training of Virgil Jones, the former Marine colonel, the army of this kingdom is still good. The 2 neighboring kingdoms of Morista and Milad can be slaughtered alone. However, recently, many ministers of the kingdom have been assassinated, many officers have also been killed, and the combat effectiveness of the entire army has also dropped a lot. It is also inadequate as a reinforcement object. Because the legion formed by the army of their own country has not even reached the first order level, there is no value worthy of using the enhanced metal at all. The metal enhancement object, Ghost Core, use it. On the throne, Davy's eyes flickered, and he chose the Ghost Shadow Core to strengthen the metal without hesitation. Ding, you strengthen the Ghost Shadow Core once, and the Ghost Shadow Core will be upgraded to a 2nd-tier army. Open black lens bracket Ghost Shadow Core close black lens bracket. Belonging to Christy Davy, Shadow Kingdom. Species: Shadow, Ninja. Abilities: Ghost Sneak, Shadow Burst, Shadow Giant. Level: 2nd order. Overall evaluation: Ninja soldiers who randomly fall into the darkness of the shadows seem to have good potential. Are 2 new abilities added? Looking at the 2 newly added abilities in the properties of the panel, Davy murmured, then with a thought, he summoned a ghost ninja. Meet the Shadow King. Single quote. Nodding lightly, Davy directly checked the personal attribute panel of the ninja soldier in front of him. Open black lens bracket Ninja soldier close black lens bracket. Level: 2nd order. Race: Shadow, Ninja. Talent: Shadow. Abilities: Ghost Sneak, Fighter, Weapon Specialization, Super Learning Ability, Shadow Blast, Shadow Giant Transformation. Weapons: Ninja Sword, Darts. Comprehensive evaluation: the almighty and almighty ninja soldier, as a housekeeping ninja, may make your life very comfortable. Wipe. This panel attribute is a bit powerful, and it has 6 abilities alone. Seeing that Super Learning Ability in the ability column, Davy couldn't help but want to complain. It is no wonder that after Xiaoyu became the Ghost Queen in the original work, these ninjas showed all kinds of surprising operations. Stealing milk, serving tea and pouring water, brushing Xiaoyu's teeth and washing her face, all kinds of magical operations. From this point of view alone, perhaps Ghost Ninja is the one with the greatest potential among the top 10 Dark Shadow Core. Their learning ability is too strong, just like living people, and their ability is enough to be omnipotent. Open black lens bracket Shadow Explosion close black lens bracket. Ability description: Self-destruction. This ability is really concise and to the point. Davy smiled helplessly, then moved on to check out another new ability. However, Davy's eyes widened after watching the ability to transform into a giant. Open black lens bracket Shadow Giant Transformation close black lens bracket. Ability introduction: Make yourself giant. After swallowing other life shadow energy, it can become even more giant and powerful. Question mark. Isn't this the ability of another Sombra Legion, the Shadow Ninja Legion? Outrageous. This is not advanced at all, but evolution, right? Davy understands that the characters and items summoned from the system may have undergone some special changes because of him. But no one could have imagined that Ghost Ninja could still be advanced, right? That is, he has this special ability. This time, Davy has more confidence in the 2 enemy countries that were already guaranteed. Originally, there was Ulquiorra, the monster summoned, plus his own national army and Virgil Admiral army. Taking 2 kingdoms is just a matter of time. Now there is an evolved version of the Ghost Ninja Soldier after the advanced level. Push directly. Someone, summon the Virgil Admiral Army. Davy didn't bother to think about any more tricks, so he directly summoned the Virgil Admiral Army. Prepare to summon a wave of Ghost Ninja soldiers to cooperate with their own army, led by the Virgil Admiral Army, and Ulquiorra as the auxiliary, to overthrow the two kingdoms all the way. Then beheaded to show the public to St. Charles Rose, complete the task to get the task reward, and make a wave of summons. Then comes the aftermath of the beheading of celestial dragons. Meet Admiral at Naval Headquarters, Buster Call. Soon, in a few minutes. The old man with white temples, wearing a light armor and muscular body, walked into the hall. Your Majesty, what are you calling me for? Coming to the bottom of the throne steps, Virgil knelt down on one knee, pressed the palm of his right hand on his left chest, and asked respectfully. Although the young man in front of him could be pinched to death at will, he was loyal to the kingdom and the old king all his life. As the old king's son Davy, he will naturally assist him in ruling the kingdom. Betrayal is what he hates the most, and he won't do that. Get up, Uncle Jones, you don't have to be so polite with me. Davy also gave him some respect for the old man who was loyal and protecting the country. Who doesn't like a loyal minister? Looking at the questioning expression of the other party, Davy didn't give a shit, and said straightly. Uncle Jones, I have decided to officially launch a general attack on the two countries tomorrow. What, Your Majesty, now that our army's combat effectiveness has plummeted, it will be difficult to fully advance the counter-offensive and compete against the armies of the two countries. Virgil's complexion changed when he heard the words, and he explained with a serious analysis. Morista Kingdom and Milad Kingdom, the two countries now have a combined army of 80,000 people. Although most of them are rabble, it is still a bit difficult for them to defeat these two kingdoms with their more than 10,000 soldiers. Don't worry, I'm ready to start a war. Davy squinted his eyes with a smile and snapped his fingers. Ghost Ninja, swish swish. In an instant, a row of neatly standing ghost ninjas appeared in the hall. Each ghost ninja exuded a suffocating aura that was not easy to provoke, and all of them stared at Virgil. This is. At the moment of being stared at by a bunch of ghost ninjas, Virgil felt a faint sense of crisis. What shocked him was far more than that, but when he felt an open space outside the hall behind him. The ghost ninjas who suddenly appeared in rows appeared again. At first glance, it seemed that the earth was covered with a layer of shady curtains, and a full 800 ghost ninjas appeared outside the palace hall. Country, His Majesty the King, are these all the mysterious legions trained by the old king? Virgil, who was so shocked in his heart, barely regained his senses, and asked in disbelief in a stuttering tone. At this moment, he has no doubt that even if he is besieged by this mysterious army of hundreds of people, he will die. No, this is my ghost shadow corps. The corners of Davy's mouth rose slightly, and there was a hint of arrogance in his expression. Show your abilities to the Admiral Army of Virgil. I'm afraid that Virgil doesn't know the specific abilities of the ghost ninjas, so it's not easy to command and assign tasks. Davy gave the order immediately, and a 12-man kingdom guard was subsequently summoned. When the escort team arrived at this time, they were obviously stunned when they saw this dark ninja army. Why is there such a large group of guys who don't seem to be easy to deal with standing in a row? Could it be that the mysterious army of the enemy has invaded the palace? When their questioning eyes looked at the square outside the palace with Virgil, Davy glanced at him immediately, and the captain of the escort team understood and held his breath for the time being. However, when they stopped all questioning movements, they saw two ghost ninjas approaching them at high speed. What, Your Majesty, this, ... The next moment, less than 5 seconds, all the shadows of the 12 guards were pulled out and devoured by the ghost ninja. Pat pat pat. The guards all fainted and fell to the ground. What kind of power is this? Virgil's eyes were very good to find that these guards were not dead, but fell into a state of coma. These are the basic abilities of my ghost team, ghost ninjas. If the person whose shadow is swallowed up cannot regain his own shadow within a day, the shadow will turn into energy and belong to the ghost ninja forever, and the unfortunate person whose shadow was taken away will die directly from the state of lethargy. Davy explained Ninjago's terrifying abilities. In the original work, after being swallowed by the shadow, people will fall into a deep sleep, and it seems that it will not have any serious effect, just like a vegetative person. But in this world, the Ghost Ninja Legion version he got, the guy who hasn't regained his shadow after 24 hours will die. Awesome ability. After listening to Davy's understated explanation of this ability, Virgil couldn't help feeling shocked. But then, he saw again that the two ghost ninjas who devoured the shadow of the escort team had grown from a height of almost 2 meters to a height of 4 or 5 meters. Then he saw another ninja sneak into the shadows and come out from another place. Two more ninjas started a duel, showing off their excellent martial arts weapon combat skills. The last two giant shadow ninjas spit out the shadows of the guards, and then under the shocked gaze of Virgil. Boom! Ninja! Blast! In situ, two potholes with a diameter of more than 2 meters and a depth of tens of centimeters appeared. Hiss! After watching the demonstrations of the ninjas' combat capabilities, plus Davy's final explanation, he said it again. Virgil took a deep breath and was speechless for a long time. Horrible! How did such an army come about? With this terrifying army, Virgil is confident that he will directly defeat the two kingdoms within 3 days. Your Majesty, give me 5 days, and I will take down the kingdom of Morista and the kingdom of Milad. Otherwise, the old minister will come to see you. Crack clap. The light armor made a sound of colliding with the ground, and Virgil knelt down on one knee solemnly, asking Davy for instructions and making a promise. With such a terrifying army, and his original army, if he couldn't take down the two kingdoms forcefully. He has been the admiral army for decades. This king gives you 2 days. Conquer the kingdom of Morista and the kingdom of Milad. Facing Virgil's military order, Davy said in an unquestionable tone. As soon as these words came out, Virgil's expression changed, and he was about to speak, but he heard Davy speak again. This time, this king is going to go on a personal expedition. In just half a day, he gained strength and ability that should not be underestimated. Davy, of course, is also very eager for the opportunity to show his strength. After all, his current strength is the 3rd rank. This time, this king is going to drive himself to expedition. Deafening hockey words came out of Davy's mouth. Virgil suddenly understood that the little king he had watched grow up in front of him had grown up. His unmistakable rebuttal tone undoubtedly showed that he was not joking, but expressed it very seriously and clearly. He is determined to conquer the two kingdoms personally. By the way, slaughtered Charles Rose Saint. If he remembered correctly, Saint Charles Rose is now in the Morista kingdom, and he is extravagant and happy. King Morista thought he had fallen on the stinky feet of celestial dragons, but he was actually treated as a slave that was worse than a dog. But it just so happened that if St. Charles Rose ran away, his mission would be a little more difficult. I see, His Majesty the King, the old minister will arrange it now. Feeling the determination of the young king in front of him, Virgil sighed slightly and didn't say much nonsense. After paying respects, he turned around and left here with the awake guards. 800 ninja soldiers followed him away, falling west. As night fell, Virgil had already brought 800 Ghost Ninja Corps to deploy the army, formulate a battle plan, and prepare for tomorrow's decisive battle of the three kingdoms. After Virgil left, Davy also returned to his bedroom. Your Majesty the King. Walking to the door of the bedroom, the two guards guarding the door hurriedly saluted, and then opened the door for Davy. With a soft hum, Davy stepped into the bedroom. It is said to be a bedroom, but it is actually a huge king's bedroom. Hundreds of square meters of bedroom, expensive accessories, and a Western European-style luxury bed that is 5 or 6 meters in size. Seeing this, Davy twitched slightly and was speechless. This is too big, is it really useful? After pondering for a while, Davy realized that with this personality, maybe it will be useful one day. Thinking of this, Davy smiled and then clicked on his own panel properties. Open black lens bracket. Davy close black lens bracket. Occupation: Great Summoner of the Heavens, King. Kingdom: Christi Kingdom, LV0. Level: 3rd Order. Race: Human, Void Arankar. Characteristic: Talents: Call of the Heavens, Co-Devour Evolution, Shadow Manipulation. Abilities: Top Observation, Hockey, Foreseeing the Future, High-Speed Regeneration, Steel Skin, Ringing, Vision, Void, Reiatsu Perception, Sero, Void. PS, Normal Status Ability Skill Display. Equipped Weapon: Zanpakuto Black Wing Demon. Summon Familiar: Ulquiorra Cipher, Ghost Core. Warehouse: Golden Sand Eagle Pistol, Zone Black Bear Fruit, 50 liangkuai knives, 1 pack of shang piao piao tissue, 10 packs of fulling mustard, Mamasigi Diwan's original tea inside, 10 tons of gold. Origin point. 242. Overall evaluation. Celebrate. A great chicken king summoner is born. ... Too much system. Are you making trouble for you? Turning off his panel, Davy can't wait to pull the system out for a beating. How dare you judge its owner like this? However, he received 30% of Ulquiorra's strength and full ability skill feedback. Unexpectedly, even Urankar's attributes have been fed back, and it has become a feature, that is, he is not a virtual and he did not become a virtual race. But it has the evolutionary characteristics of the virtual race. Interesting. Little pig, my kingdom shows level 0, what does it mean? What are the conditions for the promotion of the kingdom level, and are there any special rewards? Suddenly, Davy asked the system. The level 0 displayed by his country in the panel just now made him a little concerned. You really are a summoning plus half king development system. ... The system was silent for 3 seconds, and then replied. Back to the master, your kingdom is currently at level 0. Whenever your kingdom is upgraded by 1 level, you can get rich rewards and special effects. The way to upgrade the king is to increase the national strength of Christie Kingdom. When the national strength value reaches 1000, it is the first level, the national strength value is 2000, the second level, the national strength value is 3000, and so on. After reaching the 10th level, your kingdom will be promoted to the empire. ... I see. With that said, his kingdom will soon be upgraded to a first-level kingdom. Infer from Davy's thinking, as long as he conquers the 2 kingdoms. The Christie Kingdom will inevitably be upgraded to a first-level kingdom, and what rich rewards and special effects can be obtained at that time? Davy couldn't help but look forward to it. Black bear fruit, a little useless. Finally, Davy looked at the devil fruit in his hand and murmured in a low voice. Ordinary zone devil fruit doesn't play that much role in combat. Virgil doesn't like devil fruit, especially this common devil fruit. If the reward is given to the subordinates, it seems that no one can rely on this fruit to become a middle-level and high-level combat power in a short period of time. After thinking about it, Davy finally recycled it directly to the system. Ding, you recovered zone black bear fruit ×1, and you got 100 origin points. After the recovery, the system also reminded you again. Is there a lot? You can get 100 origin points if you recycle a normal zone. What about the advanced devil fruit? Is it the same or more? Hearing the system prompt, Davy's eyes flashed. At this moment, the mind is opened in an instant. The system has no clear answer to the value of devil fruit's recovery origin point, so Davy can only stop thinking about it for the time being. After soaking in the hot spring under the service of the maid with good appearance and figure, Davy also felt a little tired and soon fell asleep. The next morning, the kingdom's army and the Ghost Shadow Corps were already ready to go outside the capital. It is the Virgil Admiral Army who is the commander of the Legion, but the real commander is Davy. Not much nonsense, this expedition will counterattack the 2 kingdoms. Celestial dragons are overbearing and extravagant, and they will harm our country. ... No matter what, we can't let our enemies live freely, but I'm waiting like an abyss. ... Celestial dragons lackey CP4 organization and spy assassins have been wiped out by this King's Ghost Corps and Ulquiorra Admiral. Now, it's the turn of celestial dragons and those 2 damn kingdoms. Warriors, charge and smash the bones of the enemy. This king will advance and retreat with you. With the total death. On the stage of the school grounds, Davy gave a passionate speech, inspiring his fighting spirit. Life and death together. I am willing to serve His Majesty the King. Life and death together. I am willing to serve His Majesty the King. ... Move. A series of passionate and generous declarations came down, and the soldiers were moved. Yes. The fact that the Kingdom of Christie was inexorably solicited for tribute by celestial dragons is well known throughout the country. Just because they were unable to pay tribute and obeyed the endless demands of celestial dragons, the other party sent the lackeys of the world government to assassinate the members of the royal family and the princes and ministers. The neighboring 2 countries took the opportunity to invade again, making the Christie Kingdom crumbling and on the verge of disintegration. Today, the little king who has just ascended the throne dares to challenge the world noble celestial dragons and the two great kingdoms. The anger they had been holding back was finally able to vent. They are not afraid of death, they are afraid of a king who has no courage. This jagged legion was trained by the Virgil Admiral army to fight against the surrounding small kingdoms for decades. Davy's speech came to an end, and Virgil Admiral came back to the stage with a few inspiring words. Without further delay, Davy's king's chariot was surrounded by convoys in the middle, and the army of several thousand set off. 2 hours later, the battlefield where the three kingdoms fought was in front of us. This is a battlefield full of corpses, and the army of Christie's kingdom confronts the army of two kingdoms. When Davy's army arrives, it happens that Morista and Millet are fighting against the garrison of Christie Kingdom. It's the Virgil Admiral army. The Virgil Admiral army has returned with reinforcements. Great, kill the soldiers of these two kingdoms. Quote. When the soldiers in Christie's garrison saw the return of Virgil leading an army, all the garrison who were fighting with the soldiers of the two countries were overjoyed and filled with strength for a while. The horn of the counter-offensive had already sounded, and the combined forces of the two countries were actually forced to retreat dozens of meters at this moment, highlighting the defeat. Damn, it's Virgil who is back. Bastard, what did those assassins eat? Christie 3 wasn't assassinated. CP4 is also a bunch of trash. Quote. Seeing that Virgil led an army back to the rescue, the coalition forces of the two countries on his side were actually forced to retreat a certain distance in a short period of time. The angry admiral army of the two countries shouted curses. Ghost Corps, assist the soldiers to attack. Army attack. In the car, Davy opened his eyes, looked at the battlefield in front of him indifferently, and said in a high voice, "For His Majesty the King. Charge. For His Majesty the King. Charge. Charge with me." Following Davy's order, thousands of soldiers roared and charged out, followed closely by the ghost ninjas of the Ghost Corps. A few minutes later, dozens of ghost ninjas with a height of 8 or 9 meters appeared and transformed into a human-devouring monster. When the shadow energy swallowed by the shadow giant is enough, it will evolve into a ghost giant beast. When the shadow energy is exhausted, it will return to its original state. Now every ghost ninja is a second-order existence, and its combat performance is at the level of the CP4 organization. They all have at least 200 or 300 Dao strength, and have a super strong physique that is 10 times that of an ordinary person. When ghost ninjas devour enough shadow energy and become ghost giants, one can imagine how terrifying their destructive power is. For the combined forces of the two countries, it was like a wolf king mixed in with a group of sheep. It was a merciless slaughter. And the soldiers of Christie's army were also confused. Where did this monster army come from? It seems to have been brought by the Virgil Admiral army. Soon, the soldiers learned from their fellow soldiers. This army with special dress and abilities similar to Devil Fruit is the mysterious army controlled by the newly enthroned king. Moreover, the spy assassins who disturbed the country, assassinated members of the royal family and ministers, and even the CP4 organization of Celestial Dragons lackeys were all wiped out by this ghost army. For a time, all the soldiers respected the young king extremely. It just makes them wonder, who is Ulquiorra, the other new admiral army that everyone and His Majesty said about? Why didn't you see each other on this battlefield? Soon, more than an hour later, with the help of the terrifying combat power of the Ghost Shadow Corps, the combined forces of the two countries were directly defeated. After more than 15,000 people were brutally killed by Christie's army, the remaining thousands of people were already broken. All threw away their armor and knelt down to beg for mercy, and chose to surrender. If you don't surrender, you have to die. Even the two generals had their heads beheaded. The rest of the defeated soldiers didn't want to die when they saw it, and of course they chose to be slaves. The battle here is over, it's up to Ulquiorra over there, Davy said to himself. The Battle of the Three Kingdoms battlefield is over, and Christie has won. Davy's deep eyes looked into the distance, that is the territory where Morista Kingdom and Millet Kingdom intersect. The three kingdoms of them stand on a huge island, of which the Christie Kingdom has the largest territory, occupying the eastern position and having the best territorial resources. The Morista Kingdom is in the west, and its territory is 4/5 of the Christie Kingdom. The Kingdom of Millet is located in the north, next to the Kingdom of Morista, and its territory is only a little more than half of the Kingdom of Morista. almost fell out of the concept of a kingdom. If it weren't for the existence of Christie, the strongest kingdom, the two countries had to cooperate all year round. I am afraid that the kingdom of Milad has long been eaten by the kingdom of Morista and has grown itself. Before the army set off, Davy sent Ulquiorra to Morista kingdom. Ordered Ulquiorra to go first, relying on his incomparable strength to attack Morista kingdom first. By the way, grab the fat pig of Saint Charles rose again, wait for him to bring the army over to reap the mess, and then slowly take care of these damned guys. With Ulquiorra's strength, Davy believes that unless there are two marine admirals joining forces, otherwise, these two kingdoms will be wiped out with his subordinates today. That's it, Morista kingdom. High in the sky. Standing in the sky, Ulquiorra glanced at the kingdom below with an indifferent expression. Pong. A map was crushed into pieces by Gao Cheng Reiatsu in his hands and turned into fly ash. Expanding soul perception, Ulquiorra opened his eyes after a few seconds. Weak. The indifferent face has never changed, but there is a trace of disappointment in his eyes. Under his probing nerve perception, there are only a few people in the entire kingdom whose life energy and soul strength have reached the level of giant virtual strength. Not even one of the lowest level Jillian Manos Grande's strength. If it wasn't for His Majesty's order, Ulquiorra only needed a few shots of Sero in full force to annihilate the so-called kingdom below. But recalling what Davy had told him about Marine Admiral and Buster Call earlier, Ulquiorra was a little more interested. Thinking of this, Ulquiorra immediately jumped, and the whole person turned into a streamer and shot directly at the gate of the king's capital below. Since you want to conquer this kingdom, start from the city gate and go all the way in to destroy the enemy's heart. What is this white streamer? Yes, it is a person, the enemy. An enemy is coming. On the city gate, the soldiers stationed suddenly found Ulquiorra plummeting from the sky, and the alarm bell rang loudly for a while, and they were on guard. Don't let him get close. Shoot arrows. What arrows are you shooting? Stupid. An officer scolded, slapped his subordinates and shouted, shoot lousy. Cannons, shoot him down. Bang bang bang. Boom, boom. With a single order, dozens of muskets were fired into the sky, and the 6th Gate artillery roared loudly. However, the thunder was heavy and the rain was small. Ulquiorra fell rapidly, and the sound of bang landed steadily on the attic of the city gate, watching their performance with indifference. Ha ha ha, die, idiot. After the smoke cleared, the commander couldn't help laughing as he looked at the disappearing figure in the sky. I thought it was such a powerful character, but I didn't expect it to be just a worthless piece of trash. To actually think of falling from the sky, isn't this a ready-made target? Virtual flash. However, at this moment, the commander and all his subordinates hurriedly heard the sound coming from the roof of the attic behind him. I saw the indifferent young man in white clasped at them with one hand, and spit out 2 words in his mouth. Immediately, a red light illuminated the city tower, and under the scarlet light, an extremely dangerous and terrifying aura enveloped the entire city gate at the same time. Despair, the breath of death pervades. Kusho, here, give Lousy a blast. Kill him. As the scarlet light gradually formed at the fingertips, the commander cried out in despair. Boom. The red light beam several meters thick penetrated and exploded, and the tower was directly blown through at this moment, smashed into pieces, and the sky was full of smoke and dust. After a while, the alarm bells of Morista Kingdom rang throughout the country. From the ruined city tower, a thin figure stepped out and walked into the streets of Wangdu. Inside the palace. In a palace, the audience sang and danced, and the girls in hot, spicy clothes entertained the princes and ministers. Especially the celestial dragons with transparent hoods on the throne. Street. Charles rose. And below him were 2 kings, Maurice de March and Millard Parker. These 2 people are extremely ingratiating to St. Charles on the throne, but each side of the 2 of them is swollen into a pig's head. You can imagine how difficult it is to serve such a world noble. Hey, His Royal Highness Charles rose, do you think my small country is eligible to become a member of the world government? And me, His Royal Highness Charles rose. The 2 old men in their 50s and 60s licked their faces and asked Charles Rose thirsty. Snapped. Idiot. It's not that easy to become a member of world government.